out and bayonet me again. When he pulled, I swayed, and he pushed me without getting the final bayonet stab. I fell down onto the rocks. I fell facing the ocean on this shoulder with my hands tied. Falling on my head would have been fatal. I was facing the ocean and was still blindfolded. I felt a body on top of me. I thought it was my Ellis friend. I heard him cry out in pain as he fell. The seawater rushed into my mouth. I wanted to cough, but the Japs were standing on the cliffs above. Then the Japs started shooting down at us from the top of the cliff. There was a body on top of me and they missed me. But I was deafened by the noise. I lay still for a long time until I thought the Japs had gone. When a wave hit me sideways, the body on top of me rolled off. I whispered, "Bairarua, Bairarua," but he didn't respond. I bit him, but there was still no response. I knew he was dead. I finally tried to get up, still blindfolded. I could feel the other bodies with my feet. In Banaba, the rocks are sharp, and I was afraid of hitting my head. So I moved slowly. I felt the sharp edges of the rocks and eventually cut my hands loose. I then undid my blindfold and climbed up into the rocks. There was no sight of the Japs. I went back down. I turned one body over. The chest was all open. All the others were dead. I realized I should have been one of them too. They were on the cliff top with me. The sun had set now. So I left. I found a place in the rocks to hide for the night. The next morning the Japs showed up. They were dragging corpses with them. I saw the swollen bodies of my friends floating in the sea. As they searched for bodies, they came near to where I was hiding. They put hooks through the bodies and sewed them together. They dragged the bodies by the launch and passed them over to a canoe. I stared as if I was dreaming. Just past the rock, the boats took the bodies out to sea. And then they left. I hid in the rock cave for 3 days. On the third night I left. I was very scared when I walked in the dark, because I remembered that mines had been planted. I felt the mine carefully with my foot, and then diffused it. I found a new hiding place with an opening to the sky. One day I saw a plane which circled the island for an hour. Through the opening I saw the Japanese running past. At night I went in search of coconuts, but I was always scared of being caught. Then I discovered a water tank. I drank and had a wash. Up until this time, I used to quench my thirst by soaking my riaru in salt water and putting it on my chest. From now on, I started to feel comfortable with my life. I was no longer afraid. I I found pawpaws and ate pandanus fruit. Soon my beard had grown long. How could I shave and cut my hair? I had to look for something to cut them. I found a bottle and smashed it on the rocks. The lower half of the bottle was sharp, so I used it. But it was all uneven. My head was badly cut and sore, so I left the other side. I would do it the next day.
Kabunare spent 100 days in the cave. He crept out at night for food and water.
I used to keep count of the days by marking the back of a leaf. One day I spotted two men. They were talking in Gilbertese. They were not Japs. I walked up to them and spoke in my dialect. They replied.
Kabunare was taken to the District Commissioner's office on Ocean Island, and there he told his incredible story. His skin was pale after 3.5 months in the cave. He showed the Allies the cliffs where his friends had perished and the 2 small caves where he had hidden. Ironically, the Allied forces had landed on Ocean Island only 1 month after the massacre. The Japanese surrendered and claimed the workers had been executed for acts of sabotage. But they had not counted on a survivor. At the Japanese war crimes trials in 1946, Kabunare was able to refute the allegations with his damning evidence. It was proved that the Gilbertese workers had been executed 2 days after Japan surrendered. Lieutenant Commander Suzuki and Lieutenant Yoshionara were found guilty for the deaths of 200 Gilbert and Ellice Islanders and 6 European civilians. They were sentenced to death by hanging. After the war crimes trials, Kabunare returned to his island of Nikanau and married. He had 9 children, and now at the age of 81, he has 11 grandchildren, most of whom live on Tarawa. He enjoys spending his time with his large family. He rarely talks about the horrors of those last days on Ocean Island. 2 generations have grown up since that time. He prefers that their innocence be undisturbed. They've been told that their grandfather was a hero in World War II when Kiribati was called the Gilbert Islands. In the years between, these atolls have been at peace. For them, it's only a story. Kabunare no longer harbors resentment against the Japanese. That is history. He is at peace with himself.